Hello, children. So, today in this module, we are going to read the poem A Thing of Beauty by John Keats. Well, before moving on to the poem, let me tell you about it first. This poem is an excerpt from a long narrative poem that is divided in four books Endymion. It has been named after its hero, Endymion, a character taken from Greek mythology. In Endymion, John Keats takes the legend of a shepherd who fell asleep on Mount Latimus and captivated the goddess of the moon, Cynthia, who fell in love with him. The poet transforms this basic Greek mythology into a quest in which Endymion hopelessly searches for a beautiful and mysterious goddess he first glimpsed in his dream. Now, before moving on to the explanation part, let's read the poem first. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but will keep a bower quiet for us, and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. Therefore, on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth, spite of despondence, of the inhuman dearth, of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and overdarkened ways, made for our searching, yes, spite of all. Some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits, such the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shady boon for simple sheep, and such are daffodils with the green world they live in, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. The mid forest brake, rich with the sparkling of fair musk rose blooms, and such too is the grandeur of the dooms. We have imagined for the mighty dead all lovely tales that we have heard or read, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens brink. Now let's check the explanation of this beautiful poem, A Thing of Beauty. Well, the first stanza, A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but will keep a bower quiet for us, and a sleep full of sweet dreams, and health and quiet breathing. Now, in the first stanza, children, the poet describes a thing of beauty as emanating joy forever. It is a source of eternal joy, and its beauty keeps increasing with the passage of time, and it never comes to an end. The poet also says that it is like a quiet bower, the shade of a tree under which everyone feels relaxed and sheltered against sweltering day. The benefits hold out by a piece of beauty are listed as sound repose or sleep with good dreams, no nightmares, and good health, referring to quiet breathing. The next stanza says, Therefore on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth, spite of despondence, of the inhuman dearth, of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and overdarkened ways, made for our searching, yes, in spite of all. Some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits. Let's check the explanation of this. So here the poet says that is why human beings each day create or weave an ornate band or a flowery band made of all the lovely things that we see around us, which includes even beautiful memories. This band keeps us. Why do we keep this, weave this band? To keep us bound to this depressing earth, this despondent earth, which is spiteful, hopeless, unpleasant place, and it is thriving in callousness towards human beings. Every day, poet says, every day human beings face gloomy days packed with unhealthy and dark ways for us to see, or bear, or to tolerate. In spite of all, a thing of beauty, it helps eradicate the cover the darkness which covers or burdens our soul and helps us remain positive and hopeful. The next stanza says, such the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shady boon for simple sheep, and such are daffodils. With the green word they live, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. The mid forest break rich with a sparkling of fair musk rose blooms. Now here the poet says that there are these beautiful things which bind us to this earth, which motivate us to continue our journey on this earth despite all the negativities which are there for us to face. So he says, what are those beautiful pieces? The sun, the moon, trees old and young, which sprout, which provide a shady boon, shelter under which we feel relaxed, our mind feels calm and composed and at peace. Okay, so and for simple sheep, here poet is sympathizing with the innocence of human beings and is calling them simple sheep, noble in nature. And he further describes that how musk roses that bloom amongst the thick mass of ferns and then beautify the forest. In the same manner, mankind or humanity is also surrounded with negativities. Okay, but still it need to bloom, it need to grow amongst all those negativities, all the dark ways, the way a musk rose blooms in the forest amongst ferns. And then he says that the same beauty in innocent humans which are who are seeking solace in nature, and mother nature in its own way, how it bestows a shady abode of relief and consolation for mankind, so that they can see the beauty in mother nature, and they can, it can keep inspiring them to continue their journey. The next stanza says, and such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead, all lovely tales that we have heard or read, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heaven spring. So poet here says that there's beauty in the death of martyrs and legends. The mighty dead, poet refers here to those people who sacrifice their life for a cause or for the welfare of mankind. Poet feels that the tales of these warriors inspire us forever, and this beauty of these legends also never loses its impression. Thus, if you see the entire poem, you find that the poet tells us that if one looks around, there are numerous beautiful things to notice, and they seem to flow immortally as a fountain from the gods above, or from the gods heaven, to help the pitiable human beings to deal with the harshness of life. Now let's check the literary devices which are used here. I have given you where is metaphor being used, alliteration and oxymoron. Fine. So I've given you all that. There are several imageries which are also being used. Like I told you, the images of beautiful things, the sun, the moon. So imagery is also used there in the poem to beautify it. Now children, I hope you must have understood the poem. In case of any problem, any queries, send it to me. Thank you so much. Stay home, stay safe and take care of yourself.